Welcome to the first podcast of Tuscaloosa Talks for 2022. And what better place to start it out than right here at Druid City Brewery with the owner of this amazing establishment, Bo Hicks. And of course, what better place to interview your new city attorney than in a beer pub, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, what better place? But we're gonna talk about that in a second, about this unbelievable, unique relationship between these two gentlemen and their connection with me, and quite frankly, their connection with Tuscaloosa. So before we begin, we always kind of like to introduce our guests to Tuscaloosa. So, Bo, I'm going to let you go first. Tell a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Druid City Brewery, and because I've got a lot of things to ask you in a short time we have.
Excellent. Well, my name is Bo Hicks. I came to Tuscaloosa in 1998. I went to Brookwood High School out in the county. Came here to go to school, and then did a lot of different things. I played in a lot of bands, had the joy of meeting a lot of people, and I really developed a love for Tuscaloosa. And so when it became time, we were deciding, and we thought somebody might open up a brewery in Tuscaloosa that didn't care about the community. And that's something that's really important to us. And that's not just lip service. We wanted to have something that would help keep other progressive, artistic, cool people in our community. And we thought a good cornerstone for that would be to open up a brewery. So we just try to focus on original music, arts, being an interesting place that either people from out of town or our community can come into no matter what kind of person they are and feel welcome. And so that's something that we've strived, and we're lucky to be here for almost 10 years.
So why beer? How'd you get into the brewing of beer? That seems complex, and people can't see off camera how it really works over there to our right. How did you get into this?
Well, it was something that coming up and, watching football and having beer with buddies and things like that. And it led me to slowly start trying other beers, some Abita from Louisiana, some Terrapin from Athens, Georgia. And it showed me that great beer can be made in the South. It's not just a West Coast or a New York or, those kind of things. And, right, wrong, or indifferent, I didn't know a lot, but we decided that we could do it here. And what better place than our community?
Well, it's fantastic. We'll talk about a couple of your products in a second. But now we're going to make that easy segue from brewmaster to city attorney, because they go so naturally together. We'll connect the dots in a second. But Scott, you're not originally from Tuscaloosa. Tell people of Tuscaloosa about yourself.
No, sir. I am. I generally introduce myself as Bo Hicks' squarest friend, so I think that's probably relevant.
We all have to have that.
I was raised in Slocum, Alabama, down just north of the Panhandle, the South Alabama, Geneva County. I went to college in Memphis and went to law school in Birmingham, and really just kind of happened my way over to Tuscaloosa to take a job at the DA's office. It was frankly kind of a temporary move. My wife had an entry-level job in the city school system. I had an entry-level job as a lawyer here, and may have stayed temporary had it not been for the tornado in 2011. Really getting with the community, and I was fortunately not to have been personally impacted, but being out with the community and going through that as a community really made this home for me.
So why'd you want to become city attorney?
Oh, boy, a loaded question right to start.
It's not a job interview. I mean, seriously.
That's true.
Don't fake this answer.
So,
tell the truth on this one.
So my parents would probably tell you it was my years of playing SimCity as a child on the computer. But no, I came over to the city in 2014 from the district attorney's office because I wanted to be more involved in policy making and more involved in making decisions and helping my community beyond the great work that they do at the DA's office in prosecuting criminals, and have loved it pretty much from day one. The way our office runs, it runs differently than a lot of other city attorneys' offices. We're really involved in a lot of the policy, a lot of how our city operates, and I love the little things we get to do on a day-to-day basis.
So you're probably going, how in the world do we get Bo Hicks and Scott Holmes in one podcast in one of the coolest places in Tuscaloosa? Bo, how do you know this guy?
So I met Scott through coming to the brewery. He was supporting what we were doing.
Was that before work or after?
After work, totally.
Okay, yeah, good.
No, I really kid. And, as our friendship grew, it was also great to have somebody, to sort of pigeon back on what Scott said, that somebody I could ask like just a vague question to, or he could point me to, the ombudsman, or who, to also work. I think two guys were very similar in the same age. My father grew up 15 miles from Slocum, and that's where I still go, in Hartford,
Really?
Alabama. Yeah, down in Geneva County. And so, we sort of started that. His son became, best friend, Franklin. And
I
so,
heard he was a Mario Kart champion.
yeah, he's pretty good. He likes to play the Zelda as well. And so we just sort of formed a bond of both wanting to continue to improve Tuscaloosa, to think of ways that policies could encourage growth, not stymie it, but also to be a pragmatist about what you have going on. It's so easy without being out in the real world, talking to business owners, it might sound like a perfect idea on paper, but then you don't always think through the consequences. So having the support, and a friendship, not in an official capacity, but to just go like, hey, what do you think about this idea? I mean, we both love music. We both love craft beer. I'm more than him. That's why I'm a little more portly, but that's sort of how our friendship grown. And, now it goes well beyond any official capacity. Now it's, like a really just straight up good friendship. And so, I mean, it's something that I've gone over to his house for his daughter's birthday. Like, we've just become good buddies, and I'm pretty stoked about that.
I tell you, he's a cool guy. I mean, he's
Yeah.
one of the coolest guys besides LaPerry Howell. He's probably the coolest guy at City Hall. Scott, what have you learned from Bo? In all seriousness, from a small business owner who's made it big, what has Bo done to help you be a better city attorney?
One of the things that Bo Hicks does that's hard to really describe is he provides a place. I've always called come to Druid City drinking beer in somebody's living room. The people that come generally the same times that I come. I know university professors, other professionals, members of the community, just kind of really a blending pot. But really the importance on community and giving back, and especially during the pandemic early on. When everything was shut down and bars were shut down and places were surviving by doing to go, Bo's getting killed over here. He can't open the small tap room he has. Bars aren't necessarily selling his beer, and even though it's hurting him, he sees things like the small bands that he would pay to come and play here, and so he went out of his way to do things to help those people. The constant thoughtfulness of what you can do for somebody else is really one of the lessons I get from Bo Hicks.
Bo, one of the cool things that I've always appreciated about you is your support of the other local breweries here in Tuscaloosa, like Black Warrior Brewery.
Yeah.
I mean, I see you guys cross-tweet, if there's such a word like that.
Yeah.
All the time. I mean, what creates that type of? I mean, because in theory, you're competition.
Well, yeah, but
totally. How's there this kind of brotherhood feeling with that?
Well, it's local businesses working with local businesses, right? Like in theory, we have a fake Cheers versus Gary's Old Town Tavern sort of thing, but it's all on paper. Like, they're in the same boat we are, and we've helped each other with grain, with other concerns, and to help each other rise up, because I think it is important to have variety in our community of those kind of like foundational things that I think help a community grow. And like I said, I think that only helps more people go, well, if these yahoos can do it, speaking of us, guys at Black Warrior, they're engineers. They're real smart. But for us, it's always been like, I think so many people will sort of move away because they're not sure that there's something that's going to be here and support them. But I'm here to say, like, yeah, there is. And, one of our new things that we're sort of working on is our new motto is going to be community and simplicity. Like, we're not going to make the most bizarre beers in the world. You know what? We want to make great beer that makes Tuscaloosa proud, but also have a community-focused thing on supporting readings from the MFA department, doing art shows once we're able to get back up and running and doing all that full speed. We're still very cautious. We're all, I think, protected up here on the stage from steps that we've taken personally. And so, it's just continuing to do that, and also caring about other local business. Like, I know that the struggle is real, and they know that for me, and I know that for them. And so I think reaching out is the only thing to do. Doing good in the world and it being a good business decision are not mutually exclusive is something I've learned. It's sort of it goes against like a lot of dog eat dog business things of, oh, you don't want to help them, but no, you do. The rising tide floats all boats. Yeah. And so I try to adhere to that. Sometimes, I might take a loss on a band or, sure, they might have an event that does a little bit more, but they'll also send people that are traveling through over here. I mean, it's a two-way street. And I think both us breweries and then a lot of other local businesses, like we're here to help each other. That's the only way that we're going to continue to grow.
So the thing that I appreciate most about what you just said is I know you believe it. And I know it's in a podcast, it's hard to get that across. You absolutely believe it.
Oh yeah, man. It's a cornerstone.
Now let's have a little bit of fun with little remaining time. What is Scott Holmes' his go-to drink here when it's not dry January?
When it's not dry January, Scott Holmes is our arbiter of IPAs. He makes sure our Lamplighter IPA is to spec, the proper bitterness, carbonation levels. Sometimes he'll have to have a second just to make sure
it was a little cloudy last week.
One of the reasons why I hired him, the guy just is relentless.
His tenacity, he just bites up and he won't let go. So, once again, it's one of our favorite things. And I always joke about dry January is I look forward to having Scott come here just so we can like let loose and just like talk. It's something I look forward to because it's Friday afternoons. It's normally whatever's happened that week, and small business ownership is constantly putting out small fires. It's, you've got to be very flexible. It's not as rigid. And so just knowing that I have a friend that's going to come and I can go, oh boy, that really sucked. And so just having a friend that I know I'll see all the time is pretty good. And like I said, making sure my IPA is on point.
Well, and so Scott, for you as city attorney, what is the thing that has surprised you the most that maybe would make you want that second lamplighter?
A lot of what I get to do, and quite frankly, one of the things I love most about the job is stepping out from the pure lawyer role. And so, I get to act almost as a mediator between other city employees and other city departments and get to help talk through things. I'm a big fan of talking something through. And I think a lot of people come to our office and come to me for that. And I enjoy that. I think lots of times as well, I know you had referred to Glenda Webb, my predecessor, as the Walt Whisperer.
Yeah.
And she's certainly phenomenal at it and a great mentor. But I think some of our department heads have tried to try out my chops as the Walt Whisperer and like for me to be the one to have to go tell you.
It always seems to fall on the city attorney, even if it has nothing to do with the law, to come share bad news.
But I enjoy it.
You do a fantastic job at it. And so in the last couple of minutes remaining, the artwork behind us, Bo, I don't know if we can see it on the podcast. What started this and inspired it? Because it's always so good.
It was something that we like to, I was brought up as a huge Alabama fan. And it was something that like, hey, let's take something fun and pop culture-y and let's like sort of point the Crimson Prism in on ourselves. Like, let's allow ourselves to have some fun because as much as I know, two of us up here love the Tide.
Yeah.
I give Scott grief. He can't help it. That it's also like at the end of the day, the sun's going to rise, but it is so important to have that draw for our economic development. It's some of my busiest times of year. So we like to just have fun with it. And once again, we mostly do old albums or things like that. And we get to pay a local artist that's phenomenal at chalk art.
It's unbelievable.
It's truly astounding what he can do. And so we also, through doing it and showing a little fun side of Alabama fandom instead of just like, hey, Paul, that kind of negative, connotation.
There's going to be a lot of people who
Well, that's what a lot of people see as Bama fandom, as really aggressive, just we want to have fun with it. The sun's going to come up tomorrow and if Alabama loses, I won't be as excited about it.
Well, the heart of Tuscaloosa culture flows through this guy. and I haven't lived here all my life, but I've always been very interested in some of the old school Tuscaloosa. I'm a big Grateful Dead fan, and the Grateful Dead played a great show here in 1977. And I love to envision what the Strip and what this place would have looked like in 1977. If you look at Rich, who does the chalk artwork, who's a regular patron here, he goes all the way back to doing some of the artwork at the Chucker. And some of the real sort of Tuscaloosa culture institutions that exist in this town, beyond just the university.
Well, it's something we're trying to carry over too. We have tables from the Chucker here, the Sistine Chucker.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the square ones there. The Sistine Chucker, the mural that was on the ceiling, is going to be in our new facility. We're hoping for spring.
Tell people about the new facility.
So we're looking at moving. We're still going to be in the Parkview Shopping Center, but we're looking at expanding. Right now we're in about 1,400 square feet, and it's going to be 5,000. We're going to have a little kitchen that's going to do interesting things. We're going to have a better music room that we can really foster, having touring bands and having really interesting music come here. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but, you can see two bros play wagon wheel like anywhere you go. And
Fast car.
Fast car, noted super hit. And Scott Holmes, he used to troll us online about just requesting anytime. During the pandemic, we were paying bands to take over our Facebook page because we knew that the pandemic hit them as well.
Yeah.
And he'd always troll us by requesting Fast Car.
That's his
for anything. And
that's his song.
Yeah, we're looking forward to growing with the city and be an even more integral part and to provide more room and more general fun, man. That's our thing.
If you need me to come and sample and do quality control, the lamplighter is my favorite.
Yes, sir.
But the North Porter has really snuck up on me.
Yeah.
That is and I normally don't like, I don't know what the technical term is, but that dark kind of stout beer. But what is your favorite? Let me ask this: what's your favorite beer? What's your go-to?
I've almost come full circle, and this is where the community and simplicity came with me. Just our pale ale. I find that it's something to make your more basic styles good and drink it. There's no real flavors to hide behind, and I always equate it to when Sean Brock or a famous chef would go to the Waffle House. It's a good beer and it's balanced, but it's not aged in a unicorn horn or some bizarre hop, So something like that. I used to love the IPAs and the bigger beers, and I'm still very proud of them, They're sort of things that a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, not in these batches. Those were the early ones, went into, figuratively. And so now I'm almost coming around to liking just a simple pale ale, but we try to have something for everybody, and we try to focus on just being us and being kind of quirky and weird.
Well, with the lamplighter, I remember that. So and that's where my parents got engaged.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
Yeah.
I barely remember it. I have a tattoo of the moon from the Moonwinks. I try to be an ambassador when I travel. I have an arm of just Alabama things, so when I do travel, people don't immediately make an assumption about what an Alabamian or even a Tuscaloosan is. There's a million different kinds of all of it. And so I try to really be a force of good in that.
Well, I tell you what, you're a force of good. You're a force of nature for Tuscaloosa. No, you really are. And it's been so cool today to have you and Scott here and to blend these two things. I mean, you're a blender, right?
Yeah.
We blended city attorney, master brewer together. I hope everyone, if they get a chance, will come out to Druid City Brewery. It's great beer. It's a great time. It's a laid-back environment. It's one of the coolest places in Tuscaloosa. So where would they go to find the hours and all that other stuff?
You can just Google Druid City Brewing, and that's going to give you our hours, and we're on all the socials. It'll normally be silly pictures of me dressed as an elf or something like that from the holiday season. But, just keep doing that, and I'm really thankful that y'all came. Both of y'all's engagement, I know that it's tough on both fronts because some constituency, no matter what you do, half of them sometimes are going to think you're trying to do this, and having to King Solomon a lot of things, and to be progressive to do what is good for the city, even though it might be unpopular, takes a lot more strength than I have. So I'm proud of both of you being able to fight that. And so I really appreciate y'all taking the time to come here.
Well, the next time we come, we're going to talk about the Python. We ran out of time. We hear rumors the Python could be, there's a lot of things circulating. Maybe we'll work out when you open up.
Yes, that sounds like it'll be perfect.
All right, I'm telling you, check it out. If it wasn't dry January, Scott and I would be having an ale because I'm sure it's after 5 o'clock here in Tuscaloosa somewhere, right? But anyway, this has been another edition of Tuscaloosa Talks. I hope you have a great day.